Would you like to make meatballs in your Instant Pot in only 2 steps? I've got that for you coming right up. Hi, I'm Deborah. You're watching The Last Minute Cook, where I share delicious recipes that are quick so that you can make dinner at the last minute and feel good about what you're serving. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and ring that little bell to be notified of my new videos. And I'd love to connect with you in the comments below, so reach out with any questions or comments. Now for these meatballs. Okay, I'm so excited because I have been making meatballs homemade for years for my family on the stove, hours of cook time, and I have this great recipe now with our Instant Pot where we can do this in 2 steps, cuts so much time off, and it is truly a quick meal that you can make at the last minute. So I'm really excited to share it with y'all. So for this recipe, we are going to be using ground beef, some Italian flavored spices. This is a garlic powder parsley mix, but you can use whatever spices that you like. It's about a tablespoon worth. We're going to be using eggs, a little bit of breadcrumbs, some tomato sauce and diced tomatoes, and to boost that flavor, some bouillon or like one of those better than bouillon style bases. And so let's get started. Let me show you how we're going to do this. We are going to start with getting all of our meatball prep done. This is the first step and it's super quick. So we're going to get our meat. Now I use my mixer for pretty much everything that requires mixing in my kitchen, but you can do this in a bowl and mix with your hands. You can use a masher, whatever's easiest for you. Use whatever equipment you've got. Let's get our beef going in there. This is about a little over a pound of ground beef. Now this is a coarse ground garlic powder with parsley, but like I said, whatever spices that you like, throw that in there. It's about a tablespoon. Just get that mixed on low just to kind of incorporate that with our ground beef. Then we are going to put in 2 eggs. So let's get those in there and let that mix up a little bit. Now I'm using about a cup of breadcrumbs, and actually I usually don't even measure this. I just throw the breadcrumbs in there, but a cup with about a pound and a half of meat should be good. If you're going to double this recipe, you'll want to increase your breadcrumb amount. Just throw that in, get that going. Okay, we also want to put about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. And measure or not measure, but about a tablespoon. It's okay if you go a little heavy on that. All right, mix that up. Just let it go until it's all incorporated. Once this is done, we will make our meatballs and do step 2. Once you have your meat mixed and ready to go, now we are going to put a can of diced tomatoes. This is the 14.5-ounce size, but you know, 1 or 2 cans of this is good. Right into the pot. And then we are going to simply roll and place our meatballs right into that. So this, if you go quick, won't take that long. So the size of meatball that you're after is not much bigger than, I don't know, what is this, 1.5 inches maybe or so? Just don't go like, I mean, well, you know, make it how you like it. But if you want them to go further, don't make them too big. So just a quick roll. This is not a huge process. This should be like quick. Feels a little daunting to have all this in front of you, but it's quick. Just it. Once we have our meatballs in there, we're going to top them with 2 cans of tomato sauce right on top of our meatballs. So that's going right on. So I want to make sure my meatballs are covered with the sauce. The next thing we are going to do is add our bouillon. I am using a couple of heavy teaspoons of one of the bouillon bases like this. And I just mix it in warm water till it's melted. Or you can use a couple of the cubes. But the same thing, you're gonna want to dissolve these in some warm water before putting this in your pot. So once you've got your bouillon ready, you're just gonna pour it right on in. See all that in there? That's flavor right there. There's not even that behind. Yum. Okay, so we've got that. We're going to want to give this a gentle stir just to kind of make sure we're all mixed. But we don't want to upset our meatballs too much. So be gentle, be super gentle. Just kind of make sure your meatballs are covered and that your bouillon is kind of spread around. Okay, those are our 2 steps. Next, we get to cook. All right, we are going to set our Instant Pot to 10 minutes on either the meat stew or the manual pressure cook. 10 minutes on high pressure, and we want to go ahead and maybe allow about a 5 to 10 minute natural release on this as well. So hit start. Make sure you're in sealing, not venting if you're using a different model, and always double check anyway. And we will see you back in 10 minutes. I'm gonna show you what these meatballs look like and a couple of different ways you can plate this. Okay, we have pressurized these meatballs for 10 minutes and I have allowed a 10-minute natural release. So now I'm going to go ahead and manually release the rest. Okay. All right. This gentle mix. These are perfect. Okay. So there are a couple of ways that we serve these in our home. Actually 3 or 4 ways, but I'm going to show you a few. So one is we just eat them like this. In Italian, they're called polpette. They're just meatballs. They're served as a dish by themselves. And so we plate them with a little bit of sauce and top them with a little bit of Parmesan. So let's show. Okay, so this is your traditional meatball polpette dish. Just like this. This is dinner. But of course, there are other ways we can eat these delicious meatballs and get more than one meal out of this pot. So let's show you that. So of course you've got your traditional, I've got some spaghetti that I've got tossed in some olive oil, and I'll just throw on some of these. Yum, just like that. And because there's extra sauce in here, if your crew runs through the meatballs, you still have a lot of extra sauce. That's a great topping for pasta with just cheese as well. And again, this is also delicious with a little bit of shredded Parmesan if you have it on hand. And then the third way that we like to serve this, look you guys, oh my gosh, okay. I mean, come on. All right, and then the third way, when you just really want a good bite of some good food, you're gonna take a couple of hoagie bread loaves like this and load it with some mozzarella. I like to put it right on the bread so that when that hot sauce and that hot meat meets it, it melts it right under there. So we're gonna load this up. Right on top. Maybe not that generous with the sauce. Let's go a little less generous with the sauce. Okay, so then you want to take your mozzarella and then we're going to load it right on top of that as well. So this is going to melt. So you got a hungry crew, you can fill some bellies with this. All right, so let's check this out. So we always want to give it a try. I also want to show y'all what this looks like. Yeah, perfectly cooked and tender meatballs. Okay, I'm gonna give this a try. Perfect meatball. You would say, che buone, or something like that. These are delicious. So Please make these. These are quick, these are easy, and these are worthy of calling them Italian meatballs. And for more information, check out the show notes below for a link to my website and for a printable recipe card as well, and also to connect with me down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.